Your first act in this life wasn't a word. It was a breath, raw, primal, sacred. It filled your chest before you even knew you had lungs. It moved through your body before you knew you existed. And in that moment, the universe breathed with you, through you, as if you yourself were the breath of life. But as the years passed, that sacred rhythm began to fade. Breathing became a background act, quiet, mechanical, like distant noise, no longer the rhythm of life, just a mechanism for getting by. Not gone, just forgotten. Like a melody you once knew by heart, now humming beneath the noise of life. What made us forget? Perhaps it was the relentless pace of life, the invisible pressure that made our breaths shorter, faster. Perhaps it was the moment we started living to get things done instead of simply to live. And so the breath, once our bridge to life, became a signal of tension, of fear, of disconnection. In the ancient Upanishads, there is a story one day. The senses argued about who was the most important. The eyes said, "Without me, how would you see the light?" The ears said, "Without me, how would you hear the world's voice?" The mind said, "Without me, you would all be chaos." But when the breath, Prana, quietly left the body, they all fell silent. For when the breath stopped, so did light, sound, and thought. And when Prana returned, life began again. Thousands of years ago, humans already knew breath is not just air, it is the energy of the soul. And maybe you've been searching for that energy through goals, through discipline, through control. But ironically, you've been trying to heal the mind while exhausting the body through the way you breathe. You think you're tired, anxious, burned out. But what if you're simply under-breathing? What if what you call burnout is just the body's cry begging to breathe properly again? You are not weak, are You've just forgotten how to connect with the primal rhythm that once healed you. Because breath is the bridge between body, mind, and energy. It is the portal, the gateway between what you've been programmed to believe and who you truly are. When you inhale deeply, you open to possibility. When you exhale slowly, you release resistance. Inhale possibility. Exhale resistance. That first breath didn't just carry oxygen. It carried the blueprint of your soul, the pure part of you, untouched by stories, beliefs, or fear. And each time you return to conscious breathing, you rewind time, returning to the part of you that has always been intact. The part that knows your experience isn't fixed. It often shifts with the rhythm you embody. Breath is a biological switch, a neural bridge, a language of energy. And when you relearn that language, when you remember how to breathe as yourself, everything begins to change. So, what happens inside your body when you start to breathe consciously? What allows just a few slow breaths to calm fear, quiet the mind, and bring you into coherence, the state where heart and brain move in harmony? Take a deep breath with me. Hold it for a moment, as if you were inhaling life itself. Then exhale slowly, as if releasing all that no longer belongs to you. Because right now, in this very breath, transformation has already begun. In every tradition, breath has been called by a different name. In India, it's prana, the living current that animates the body. In China, it's qi, the vital energy that flows through invisible meridians. And in the story of the Buddha, it was the very rhythm of breathing that guided him to enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. But beyond philosophy, these stories point to one truth. Your breath is not just oxygen, it's information. Every inhale, every exhale, is a message sent through your nervous system, telling your body what kind of world it's living in. When you breathe in fear, your heart tightens, your blood rushes, your brain prepares to fight. When you breathe in safety, your cells open, your organs begin to repair, and your mind quiets enough to listen. The breath is the language your body speaks before your mind understands. Neuroscience now echoes what ancient mystics always knew. Breathing patterns are a reliable bridge between body and consciousness. They control the tone of your nervous system, shifting between the fight-or-flight response and the rest and restore state. The simplest shift in breath can reprogram your entire chemistry. Lengthening your exhale is associated with vagal activation and calmer heart rhythms. Your heart rate slows. Your brain releases calming neurotransmitters. Your electromagnetic field begins to harmonize. That's not magic, that's physiology. That's coherence taking shape in real time. Heart rate variability. HRV is one of the most measurable signs of this. When HRV rises, your nervous system becomes flexible, adaptive, creative. When it drops, your body locks into survival. And what determines it more than anything? Your breath. You can think of your breath as the remote control for your inner universe. Fast breathing tells your brain you're in danger. Slow, rhythmic breathing tells it you're home. Somewhere between those two signals lies the key to balance the harmony between action and stillness, between doing and being. The ancients called that harmony life force flow. Modern science calls it neural coherence. But it's the same thing, the same intelligence humming beneath both names. There's a story told in Tibetan monasteries that before enlightenment, the Buddha's breath became so steady. The winds around him calmed. The trees stilled. The animals drew near. Because coherence isn't silent, it's contagious. When one being breathes in perfect rhythm, the environment begins to mirror it. And that's true for you, too. When you find your breath, your world begins to move differently. Conversations soften. Decisions feel lighter. The people around you start responding not to your words, but to your frequency. Because coherence doesn't just happen in the body. It radiates outward like ripples on a still pond, tuning the space around you to the vibration of calm. Now pause for a moment. Close your eyes, if you can. Inhale slowly through your nose. Exhale through your mouth longer than before. Notice what happens. Something shifts. Your thoughts lose their edges. Your body remembers how to trust. For a moment, you are both the ocean and the wave. That tiny moment is coherence. It's the point where science meets spirit, where biology meets belief. And if just one breath can create that, what could happen if you lived that way, breathing as though your essence was more important than your performance? As though your nervous system was your compass home. Because when you learn to breathe consciously, you don't escape your humanity. You illuminate it. Let's be honest for a moment. How many times a day do you feel exhausted for no clear reason? How many times does your heart race when there's no danger at all? How many nights do you lie awake even though your body is completely worn out? Or sometimes, you exhale deeply without realizing how long you've been holding your breath. You call it stress, anxiety, burnout, or lack of sleep. But there's another reason, quieter, more primal, you're breathing wrong. We live in a world obsessed with controlling work, schedules, bodies, emotions. And yet, ironically, most modern humans can't control the one thing that keeps them alive, the breath. We breathe fast, shallow, rushed, as if still being chased through the wild. Every email, every notification, every deadline is a small trigger that switches the nervous system into alert mode. The body thinks you're in danger, and it reacts as if it were true. Your heart rate spikes. Stress hormones flood your system. and the brain enters survival mode. But the hunt never ends. It just changes shape from wild beasts to meetings, from swords to screens. The result: you're not just tired, you're stuck in survival mode, even while sitting still. James Nestor experienced this before writing Breath, the New Science of a Lost Art. In one experiment, he plugged his nose for 10 days and breathed only through his mouth. The results were shocking. His blood pressure spiked, his sleep was disturbed, and his mind spiraled into panic. Just 10 days and his body reacted as if it were at war. When he began breathing slowly, deeply, through his nose, his biological markers returned to balance within days. No medication, no vacation, just breathing correctly. That shows we're not exhausted because we do too much. We're exhausted because we've never given our bodies a chance to feel safe. Think about this. Your body doesn't understand the phrase, "I'm busy." It only understands rhythm. And breath is the music it listens to every second. Wim Hof, known as the Iceman, demonstrated that through breathwork, the human body can do the impossible. He can sit in freezing temperatures without shivering. Science discovered that Wim can consciously influence his autonomic nervous system, something once thought to be uncontrollable. Through breathing, he taught his body how to create coherence, harmony between the heart, brain, and energy. His body doesn't fight the cold, it synchronizes with it. Of course, to reach that level, Wim Hof trained for years with extreme discipline, combining breathwork, cold exposure, and mental resilience. But you don't have to do what Wim Hof does. He simply reminded us of something the modern world forgot: the body can restore itself when you know how to breathe. Science confirms this with proper practice. Even an ordinary person can reduce stress responses, increase HRV, and slightly regulate body temperature. Anyone can feel it not by sitting in the snow, but by returning to conscious breathing. Wim Hof just opened the door. The rest is a journey anyone can begin right in a small room, with just 5 minutes and a deep breath. No mountain climbing, no world records, just one present breath. And you're already tapping into the same mechanism he uses, the mechanism of biological harmony. When you breathe shallowly, your brain stays in high beta tense, defensive. When you breathe slowly, deeply, with awareness, you shift into alpha theta patterns, commonly linked with creativity, intuition, and restoration. Your heartbeat begins to synchronize with your breath, a process called entrainment. This is the moment when the body and mind speak the same language. One side says, "I'm safe." The other replies, "Then I can rest." And suddenly, the world seems to slow down. Not because anything outside has changed, but because your inner frequency has. You're no longer breathing like someone on the run. You're breathing like someone coming home. Remember this: you can't create a new future if you're still breathing to the rhythm of the past. You can't send peace into the universe if every cell in your body is still speaking the language of fear. So next time you feel tired, scattered, or out of focus, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask, "How am I breathing?" Because every breath is an answer. Every breath is a signal you send into the quantum field, the energy field where reality takes shape. And if that breath carries the frequency of safety, presence, and trust, the world begins to respond in the same frequency. That's the wow moment, what science calls coherence, what the ancients called chi, and what you may call whatever feels true. But once you feel it, you'll know a single breath can change the way you experience your entire life. If you've made it this far, pause for a moment. Place your hand on your chest. Feel that rhythm, no effort, no reason needed. Just notice that you're still here, still breathing. The breath is the only bridge connecting body, mind, and energy. Every emotion, every thought, every vibration within you is mirrored through your breath. And the miracle is you can tune this entire system simply by changing the rhythm of your breathing. Since ancient times in the East, people have called it chi, prana, the life force flowing through every cell. No one can see it, yet everyone can feel it when chi flows freely. You feel light, clear, and at ease. When it's blocked, you feel heavy, tired, disconnected. And the breath is the bridge that unlocks this current of energy. Chi masters have long believed breath doesn't just carry air, it carries consciousness. It is the thread through which the mind touches the body, and energy touches the soul. Today, modern science agrees. Research on the vagus nerve, the body's main calming nerve, shows that just 3 minutes of slow, deep breathing at a 4-6-6 rhythm can begin to reset the entire nervous system. Cortisol, the stress hormone, decreases. Feel-good neurochemistry tends to rise. The heart, brain, and electromagnetic field around the body begin to synchronize into a new symphony. This is the moment of coherence when body and soul speak the same language. There are 4 main doors that breath can open for you. 1. Calming, the breath that soothes. When fear rises and your heart races, simply inhale for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6. The longer exhale sends a message to your brain. I'm safe, and you'll be surprised how quickly anxiety melts away faster than any words of reassurance. 2. Energizing, the breath that activates. When your body feels drained or your mind foggy, take a few rounds of deep, strong, continuous breaths through the nose. Oxygen increases, circulation improves, and alertness returns. It's the cleanest source of energy you'll ever know, not from caffeine, but from life itself. 3. Rejuvenating, the breath that restores. Before sleep or after a long day, breathe slowly and evenly, 6 in, 6 out, while sensing your body. This breath shifts you from doing to being, from thinking to feeling. It's a doorway into natural sleep and deep restoration. 4. Transmuting, the breath that transforms. When anger, fear, or restlessness arises, don't push it away. Inhale deeply, hold for a beat, then exhale with power. The emotion doesn't need to be erased, only transformed. Breath carries away the dense energy and returns it as light. Like alchemy, the fire of awareness turns raw metal into gold. If you experience dizziness, tingling that feels uncomfortable, or have a medical condition, ease up, breathe naturally, and consult a professional. But no matter the technique, all breathing practices rest on 3 pillars: safety, the sense of being safe. The body only opens when it feels safe. You can't force yourself into peace. You must breathe as someone who is already peaceful. Presence, the power of now. Breath is the gateway to the present. Each time you pay attention to it, you leave behind the illusions of past and future, returning to the only place where change can happen here and now. Integration, the union within. Breath doesn't erase the past, it reconciles with it. It allows you to see your emotions without rejection or avoidance, and when you breathe through pain instead of fighting it, that energy returns as strength. Breath, therefore, is not just a tool, it's a sacred ritual of return. Every deep breath is a declaration: I am here. I am ready to live, not just survive, just 5 minutes a day, with the 4-6-6 or 4-1-6 rhythm, teaches your body to trust again and your mind to listen again. No complex technique needed. No perfect conditions required. With one conscious breath, you begin to realign to bring body, mind, and energy into a single coherent rhythm. In that moment, you no longer practice breathing. You live with it. Every moment becomes meditation. Every breath becomes a sacred ceremony, because you are not merely inhaling air, you are inhaling life itself. And with each exhale, you are learning to trust yourself again. Take one last deep breath, not to calm down, but to remember. Remember your first breath, the one you took before you had a name, before you had fears. It wasn't just air. It was the moment spirit entered form. The spark that said, I'm here. Somewhere along the way, you forgot that. The world taught you to rush, to strive, to chase every dream except your own breath. But every inhale is still whispering the same truth. You were never disconnected, just distracted. Now, as you breathe slowly, feel the rhythm of life breathing with you, your lungs expanding, your heart sinking, your mind softening into the stillness beneath thought. This right here is alignment, not something you chase, something you remember. When breath, heart, and awareness move as one, you don't need to manifest peace. You become peace. You become the signal. And the quantum field can't help but rearrange itself around that coherence. So let's pause in this stillness, because it's here that transformation begins. Not with a plan, not with a vision board, but with one sacred, intentional breath. Every breath you take in awareness is a declaration to the universe, I'm no longer surviving. I'm creating. I'm no longer chasing alignment. I'm breathing it. You don't need a mountain. You don't need a mantra. You just need to return again and again to this rhythm that never left you. Because when your breath remembers you, your world remembers who you are. So breathe. Inhale possibility. Exhale resistance. Inhale light. Exhale the past. And if you keep breathing like this, not as a ritual, but as remembrance one morning, you'll wake up and realize the life you were seeking has already synchronized to your breath. You are not being tested. You are being tuned. You are being aligned. This is the beginning of quantum coherence. This is how reality shifts, not in a flash of magic, but in the quiet power of one sacred breath at a time. Now take one more deep inhale. Hold it. Let the stillness expand. And as you exhale, say softly, I am aligned. I am home. And maybe that's where all transformation truly begins, not in chasing the extraordinary, but in remembering the simple. One breath, one moment, one quiet decision to return to yourself. Because the more you breathe with awareness, the more life breathes back through you. If this message resonated with you, take a moment, pause, inhale slowly, and exhale with intention. Let that be your thank you to your own body. And when you're ready, share this breath with someone who needs it. Because healing doesn't spread through words, it spreads through coherence. Subscribe if you want more reminders like this, calm, grounded, and alive, one sacred breath at a time.